The Great Debate, worked on by Thomas Dabney, Carlos Espinal, Rashana May, and Sierra Wallace. So what gives us power? Here's some background. The U.S. uses 92% of non-renewable sources for its energy. This means that when these sources are used up, they are completely gone, or it will take many years to form them. 83% of non-renewable sources are fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are fuels formed by the decay of many plants and animals that lived millions of years ago. The U.S. is consuming these sources of energy by the tons each day. The U.S. consumes more fossil fuels than China and India combined, which have a bigger population than the U.S. The other 8% of the U.S.'s energy comes from nuclear energy. This is also a non-renewable source. Nuclear energy does not emit any greenhouse gases. But wait, isn't nuclear energy dangerous? Let's compare fossil fuels to nuclear energy. Advantages of nuclear energy is that it does not produce CO2. Therefore, it does not contribute to global warming. Fossil fuels produce carbon dioxide, which trap heat in the atmosphere. This results in the warming of Earth. Too much carbon dioxide leads to global warming. Too little can lead to the cooling of the Earth. Disadvantages of nuclear energy is radiation. When a nuclear reactor overheats, it can cause an explosion, causing large amounts of radiation to leak into the environment. If this happens, it can result in serious environmental problems, including harming animals and plants. Advantages of fossil fuels is that they produce a mass amount of electricity. Also, their availability is great. Fossil fuels can be easily found by mining deep for them. Disadvantages of fossil fuels are what they produce. They produce greenhouse gases which capture heat, causing the Earth to heat up. Too much of it can cause global warming. The perks of being a fossil fuel. There are over 600 existing fossil fuel plants, so switching over to other forms of energy would be really costly. There have been 3 major meltdowns in history: the 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, and Fukushima, all of which their nuclear reactors have failed. This is how a power energy plant works. The reaction occurs in a reactor. It gets very hot. This heats up water. When the water is heated up to high temperatures, it produces steam. The steam moves to the turbine, which turns the turbine. The turbine and the generator are connected, so it turns the generator as well, and the generator creates electricity. The steam is condensed back into water to go through the same process, and this is how we receive our energy. Fuel rods and control rods. The control rods are used to absorb neutrons in order to slow down the reaction. If the neutrons are not absorbed, it could lead to a chain reaction within the reactor and produce an explosion. The fuel rods contain the uranium. The fuel rods is where fission occurs in the reactor and where the energy is stored. A neutron hits a uranium atom, and the uranium atom fissions into 3 neutrons, 2 smaller atoms, and heat. The new 3 atoms go after more uranium atoms and keeps the chain reaction going. This is the process of fission. Nuclear meltdown. No one has ever died as a result, but our planet is dying. Please stop global warming. As the radiance from the sun travels through the atmosphere and reaches the Earth, it turns into heat, or also known as infrared. The heat then tries to travel back through the atmosphere. As this happens, the carbon dioxide traps the heat and heats up the Earth. If there was no carbon dioxide on Earth, the Earth would be freezing cold. As more and more fossil fuels are burned, more and more greenhouse gases are produced. All greenhouse gases capture heat. Trapping more heat causes global warming. The increase of carbon dioxide changes the Earth's temperature. This temperature change happens when greenhouse gases trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere. Global warming effects include very severe storms, global sea levels rising 4 to 8 inches in the last 100 years, climate change. The U.S. was responsible for 20% of global greenhouse gas emissions in 1997. Another terrible effect is the melting of ice caps. This graph illustrates China, India, and the U.S.'s energy consumption. The U.S. consumes more energy than India and China combined. This is crazy because their population is 3 times ours. This is why we need to use more nuclear energy. That way, we can contribute to the well-being of our Earth.